Okay, now I have finished stitching all of my lines, so I'm going to be pulling stitches. But before you do that, the first thing you want to do when you're done stitching is flip it over, and you want to draw on your lines on the back side. I've had that happen where I've forgotten to do this, and then I go to dye it, and it's a pain trying to figure out where all my lines are supposed to go. So this is the easiest time to do it. And you just draw right over top of the stitches. The only ones I'm not going to draw on top of is this center one, because I'm not actually putting dye right there. I'm going to be putting dye on the edge of the shirt. And the other one is this outer one down here on the stem. But other than that, I'm going to outline all of the rest of the lines, because I'm going to dye all of these black. And this makes it easier to find. So once we're done here, then I will show you how to pull the stitches, and then this shirt will be ready to get soaked in soda ash, and then after that we'll get it dyed. Alrighty. I think we're ready. So flip this back over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, I always start with the middle leaf just because that's how I do it. I'll zoom in a little bit. So what I'm going to do is grab these top two stitches here, and I'm just going to slowly pull them and help the wrinkles, the creases, or the folds happen in the shirt here. So I'm just going to work that along. And what I'm aiming to do is to pull this tight enough so that the design is obvious, but also so that it is flat. I don't want to pull it too tight and bunch it up. Also, you don't want to pull too tight and possibly rip a hole in your t-shirt with the thread. I like to tie a nice big knot on the end of the thread here, but if you pull too tight, you can pull that through the shirt, so you don't want to do that. Once I got this pulled tight, I'm just going to put a couple knots in here to hold that, and then we'll cut that off. And I'm just going to go along here, and I'm going to pull each one. So this one's got 3 threads, and I'm just going to pull it, and I'll help work these down as I go and try to straighten out some of the folds. Okay, that one's ready. Like I say, I like to keep this as flat as possible. There's sometimes where I'll pull something a little too tight on some of the more detailed designs, and it'll bunch something up, and that's fine if that happens. But if possible, I like to try to keep the design all nice and flat. Alright. Sometimes they don't want to fold up nice and even, and you just have to kind of work with that. down to the stem here. Okay, and now that is going to be your pot leaf design. And we can flip it over, see the lines on the back side. So what I'm going to do now is soak this in soda ash, and then I'll tie it up the rest of the way, gather all this out part of the shirt, and then we'll get this dyed. So I'll be back after I soak this in soda ash. Okay, so I've soaked this in soda ash and I've spun it out so it's just barely damp. So now I'm going to finish tying it up so that we can get it dyed. So usually what I'll start out with is the sleeves and get them kind of worked together. So remember, I have 2 shirts here, so I've actually got 4 sleeves poked in here together. So I just kind of squash them down, and I'll give it just a little bit of a twist to kind of tighten it up and just kind of gather some of the excess fabric up. Once I have the sleeves kind of done, I make sure to straighten out around my design here so I have all my creases free. And then I just kind of scrunch it up. And then I'm going to tie this with kite string. And just for ease of putting the dies on, like I say, I like to keep the design part as flat as I can. So I just keep working around the outside edges here, getting them folded up, and making sure that the design stays flat as I'm doing that. Okay. Now I guess I'll flip it over so that you can see the design better on the other side. So this here is going to be my pot leaf design. And we'll go ahead and cut this off, and then I'll do a separate dyeing video for it. But that's the folding, the finishing folding of it.